Smartphones has become an integral part of our life, especially in this pandemic situation when all of us have to lock down in our home and work from home. Smartphone is the one which help us to connect with people. I wonder what would it have been in this lockdown without a phone. Now not everyone can afford a 10k or 20k rupees phone. So in this video let's talk about one of the cheapest smartphone which costs just 7,000 rupees. Yep, I am talking about none other than the Poco C3. Now looking at the recent launches of the Poco, most of its phones are just a rebranded Redmi phones. And this phone is no different. It's actually a rebranded Redmi 9C, but there is one reason that makes it a better phone than the Redmi. We will be talking about that in the later part of the video, but first up let's talk about the design. This phone has a unibody plastic design. It got a textured back and has a Poco branding beneath the camera module, which actually looks pretty dope. The design kinda reminds me of Pixel 4a, the only thing is that it got two extra lenses which actually is of no use. Now the Poco C3 comes with a 6.5-inch HD Plus IPS display which makes single-handed use quite an easy task. It doesn't feel heavy either despite having a 5000 mAh battery, or might be because I have been using quite a giant phones in the past few months. Now the place where these cheap phones lags behind is in the performance. And this phone isn't the exception. Poco C3 comes with a MediaTek G35 CPU, which is quite a common chip at this price point. And though MediaTek claims it to be a gaming chip, it isn't meant for gaming. You will notice long app loading time, lags between the app switches. You shouldn't be expecting much from this phone. If you are using this phone for general purpose like attending classes on Google Meet, scrolling through social media sites and consume media on YouTube, then for all these purposes, this phone doesn't disappoint. The benefits of having an underpowered processor is the battery life. Now since you are not doing any heavy tasks plus having a 720p display, battery life on this one is just exceptional. You can easily get 2 days of battery life depending on your usage. The same can't be said while refilling it. It took me around 2.5 to 3 hours to fully charge because it only supports a 10-watt charger, which does feel quite tiring, but again that's the case with most of the other phones in this price range, hence it shouldn't be the big deal. Now the reason why you should prefer a Poco phone over a Redmi despite having the same spec is that in a Poco phone you aren't getting any ads in the UI. Although I wish it would have less bloatware since it has just 32GB of internal storage. But don't worry, I had already made a video on how to get rid of bloatware from a Xiaomi phone without voiding a warranty. I'll make sure to drop a link in the description section below, so make sure to check that out. Now before moving further, if this is your first time here, then please consider subscribing the channel for more tech content like these. Next up, moving on to the cameras, I had zero expectation with its cameras. But to my surprise, the primary camera is actually pretty good. It has a 13MP f2.2 lens. The daylight photos look pretty good, colors and detail levels are on point. The dynamic range though could have been better. In low light, as expected, photos isn't that good and sadly there isn't any night mode either. But you do get a full-fledged pro mode, which is quite surprising to see in such a low-end phone. Also, since it's a MediaTek chip, Gcam support seems to be a distant dream. Poco C3 doesn't come with a physical fingerprint scanner, so you need to rely on face unlock or old school pattern or password unlock, which becomes quite irritating after a while. Now, who should buy this phone? So if you are a feature phone user and are willing to upgrade to a smartphone, then Poco C3 could be a great phone to have. Now the Poco C3 comes at a price of 7,499, but most of the time it's available for 6,999. Plus you can avail some extra discounts with card offer, and for that price you can get similar spec phones in Redmi 9 series. But again, as I said, Poco C3 is a better phone over the Redmi's because of ad-free UI, and also most likely you might be getting a better value in the Poco phone. Of course, you can also get the Micromax in 1B at that price, which also has its own set of advantages, so yeah, you can keep that as an option too. So that's pretty much it. If you have any question, feel free to comment down below. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until then, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.